Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Helium 10 Weekly Buzz. My name is Bradley Sutton, and this is the show where we get you familiar with the latest news in the Amazon and e-commerce space. We interview people in the industry you need to hear from and provide a trading tip of the week that's going to help give you serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the Amazon, Walmart, and e-commerce world. So let's go ahead and see what's buzzing this week. We're going to talk about a variety of things today that go from Prime Day to the current state of shipping, and also a tip on how you should analyze the images from your competitors using Listing Analyzer. So let's go ahead and get started with the news. The first article I wanted to talk about today is about Prime Day. Now, this is not going to come to news for anybody. Last week it was announced the dates of Prime Day is the 12th and 13th. However, I wanted to kind of get some feedback from everybody out there on what exactly you guys are going to do for Prime Day. Are you guys going to raise your bids in PPC? Did you send in more inventory? Anybody doing a deal of the day? If you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments below. But also, there was something that came out of Amazon yesterday, talking about how there's something new that they're going to do. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not, but I don't remember this last year. But they're doing a promotion to support small business brands. So this came out in Seller Central, where starting today, or actually yesterday, the 21st, through July 11th, so the day before Prime, customers who buy eligible products from small businesses on Amazon will be entered for a chance to win Amazon gift cards and trips to the Super Bowl and a screen of the Lord of the Rings and all these kind of interesting things. So they're doing this promotion where they're like, hey guys, even before Prime Day, if you see a small business badge, then you're going to be entered to win. So that's kind of a bonus for us small business sellers. Now, that being said, how do you get a small business certified? Now, the interesting thing is, I don't even remember applying for that, but if you look under Coffin Shelf on Amazon, I'm going to look at it right now. You can actually see that the Project S Coffin Shelf somehow says this is a small business. It's like the only one that is small business owned in all of the Coffin Shelf. So this is kind of cool. If you can get that certification, really fast, if you don't have it already, take a look at the search results of your main keyword where you're on page 1 and see if you have that small business badge showing. Because like I said, for the projects, we're pretty much the only one almost on page 1. So one of the things that gets you in the small business program is if you're registered with brand registry or you participate in the handmade program. Now, I swear there's other coffin shelves that are in brand registry, but maybe not. But because of that, that's what Seller Central told me that, oh, that's why we got that small business badge. And so if you see that badge, you're enrolled in that program. So again, guys, take a look if you are eligible for that small business badge, and you're going to get a little bonus leading up to Prime Day. And then, like I said, let me know in the comments, what exactly you guys are planning to do for Prime Day. Now, the second bit of news that came out yesterday is Amazon Marketing Stream. Now, this is something that we've been part of a pilot program for a couple of months, and a lot of other companies were too. And it's basically, in a nutshell, what it means is now Amazon, if you're connected via the API to Amazon, whether you're a tool company or something like that, you're going to have near real-time data about what is going on with your PPC. Now, in the past, what happened was a lot of people would always say, oh, I wish I could do day parting for PPC. Now what that meant, or what they meant, is hey, I want to lower my bids, raise my bids based on the time of day, or even turn off my bids, different things like that. And the answer that most people gave always is, well, no, that doesn't make sense, because you shouldn't do that, because you have no visibility into when your ads really are doing anything, right? You get bids back and information back from Amazon on a daily basis. Sometimes it's a couple days behind. So how would you know what time of day you should raise your bids or lower your bids, or when buyers are more likely to click and things like that. You would have no visibility. So it makes no sense to do day parting with your PPC. Guess what? That's now changed. Now Amazon is making this data visible so that maybe, oh, hey, between midnight and 4 p.m., the likelihood that my clicks turn into sales is like almost zero. Or man, look at this traffic during this time of the day. I need to like really make sure I'm showing up at top of search. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of possibilities. So this is something that definitely is going to come to Atomic and Helium 10 in the coming months. If you're a bigger seller, our sister company, as part of the Helium 10 umbrella, PackView, already has implemented this. So definitely, check them out if you're like a seven-figure seller or above. But if you're a newer seller, you still want to take advantage of this. Yes, Atomic with the Diamond Plan, you're going to be able to have access to this eventually. But my question to you is, what do you think? Is this like too much data? Are you like, you know what? I'm fine with the way I run my PPC just on a daily basis and looking at my ACOS and tacos and things? Or is this something that you think you want to take a look at and maybe start adjusting your bids based on the time of day? Let me know in the comments below, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, go ahead and start a thread in the Facebook group and let me know what you think about this Amazon marketing stream. All right, that does it for the news for this week's. Now, like I said before, we usually interview people. So nowadays, what's today? Today's June 22nd. We've been dealing with a lot of shipping issues for a while now. And I just wanted to let's invite an expert and give some kind of like insights into what the situation is with shipping. So let's go ahead and invite Burak up here. There we go. Burak, how's it going?
Hey, Bradley. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. You're in Miami, right?
Yes, Miami, and hopefully traveling a couple of days later overseas.
Okay, excellent. Now, Burak, he has a shipping company called ForceGet, and they're actually in our Seller Solutions hub. So you guys can find them in hub.helium10.com. As I mentioned before on a podcast, I recently used them for a Project 5K shipment. It's kind of cool because like before, I would just have my shipping agent, ship things, and I would have no idea where the shipment is or what's the status. But they got this like kind of cool interface online where you can kind of see where it's at in the world and when it's picked up, and you get these notifications and things. So they're definitely legit. But the reason why I called you there is not to talk about my shipment, but just in general, the things that have been on the mind of sellers for the last year is, number one, the shipping prices, that just were skyrocketing for
Right.
containers. And even if you're not even doing a full container, obviously you're still going to get a big price hike. And then the shipping times, where it would sometimes take like up to 3 months or more to get stuff from China to the United States. So those two things, Burak, now we're in almost the end of June here. What is the status? Are things getting better? What do you see?
If we talk about like the China side, the COVID situation was a little crazy last couple of months. Even the time we were going to ship your product, if you remember, Shanghai had a full lockdown, and we had some like trucks who had to leave Shanghai, but it couldn't because of the lockdowns. So still has a lot of hiccups in China, a lot of destination, a lot of origin issues, especially because of due to the COVID still. And also recently what we see is mainly the schedule changes by the carriers, which we used to see that, but the congestion on the destination ports, if you talk about like North America, if you talk about Los Angeles port, New York port, still like very congested, especially like the East Coast, New York side. And Los Angeles still, as you know, our company, our main hub is San Francisco, actually, Oakland port. But recently, after we booked the container in China, that a lot of schedule changes happening with the shipping line, and a lot of customers of ours or other people in the market or in the experts in the market, they're talking about this changes will continue, and it's due to the different reasons, like especially with oil and gas prices increase a lot, so it's automatically affecting the major cost for the main cost for the shipping lines are the diesel, the oil and gas prices. So they try to like combine. If they're not like full capacity, they might cancel one of the scheduled vessel, and then they switch to a different line, or sometimes instead of going direct, they change the vessel. They say due to the COVID restrictions, they might do stopover in Korea. So we see a lot of changes recently in the market with this. Prices are slightly lower in the market right now due to the summertime. I think, and very high inflation, especially in the US and Europe. I think the demand is a little less versus 6
So
months
when
ago.
you say like slightly lower, like what are we talking about? Like so what was it before the pandemic? What was it at the height, of the pandemic? And like what would it be or at the height as in, when it was the most expensive? And then
Right.
what would it be now, just to give us kind of a rate an idea here?
Before the pandemic, I would say Ningbo or Shenzhen, the parts going to Los Angeles 40 high cube was like 3,000, 3,500. Within last year, US dollars, and within last year we saw $20,000, and we couldn't even get the empty containers.
Mm-hmm.
It was really crazy and insane. I think that was the main reason why the inflation really hit like this high, because of the shipping prices. Especially some of people selling like seasonal products, like large items, like bulky items. Let's say like barbecue grill, or like furniture, outdoor furniture. They used to be like per unit cost. Used to pay maybe like $25. When was the $3,000 the full container? Now when it's $20,000, the unit cost per landing is like $120. Obviously that it has to reflect to the price, the selling price. Same with the Amazon sellers. I start seeing a lot of prices like increasing in the Amazon also, versus 6 months, a year ago. So from now, like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 40 high cube was like $11,000, maybe $10,500. It went down. Recently, what we see is direct shipping lines, like the ones we're using, let's say the One High or EMC from China to US, like West Coast, like Oakland or Los Angeles, around like $8,500 to $8,800, which is not too bad.
Do you think we're ever going to get back to the pre-pandemic, or because of like inflation and gas prices and things like that, this might be the lowest we're gonna see it?
I think the summertime is going to be the lowest that we've been seeing, because before the fourth quarter there's going to be like more demand. Definitely, it means that more prices probably will stay below 10,000. We're hoping, but I don't think that we will ever go back. Just because I'm from the industry and I lived in China so long. I remember the time when the container price was like $3,000. The shipping lines were really losing money. So last 2 years they start actually making the profit with the pricing and stuff. So I think they are not gonna. I don't want to say they control the market, but they keep the demand and supply on the balance to keep the prices the same level.
Okay, and then the other question was, like I don't know what the peak was, but to me, I had a shipment take over 3 months to get to me. But then I had another shipment recently take about 2 months, and there was one that was super LTL that somebody was doing. They just actually shipped it UPS once it hit here, and oh my goodness, like I think I might have got it in 1 month from the time it left the port. I don't know if I got like just really fortunate on that, but on average, for just regular containers to get here, I'm not talking about the fast ships and things like that, but the standard thing that most Amazon sellers do. What can they expect if something gets loaded in Shenzhen, for example, today, June 22nd? Like when can I expect that to hit the port here and actually be unloaded?
It's really interesting question, because in the market there are a lot of spot rate. What it means is, there are some very big logistic companies, freight forwarders. They have a contract with the shipping lines, which they have like fixed price for the entire year, and they sell those containers to like large accounts, let's say Nike or like Adidas or whatever the brand you call. And then versus when they have like empty space, they start selling to the market as a spot rate. So there are a lot of spot rates right now in the market, and it's causing a lot of actually chaos when you want to book something, because there's always like a different shipping line that companies are offering. So most of the regular freight forwarders in China who don't have, the ones in China who don't have like a direct contract with the carriers, they are using the spot price, spot market. So each shipment could be different. Generally, I would say if there's a connection through Korea, 35 to 45 days from the time it departs from Shenzhen. It takes 7 to 9 days to go to Korea, transfer the containers, 2 weeks, and go to Los Angeles like 2 weeks. And I would assume like there's at least 10 to 15 days like congestion on the port. They're waiting. When the shipping crisis hit the bottom actually, the waiting number of vessels waiting outside of Los Angeles was like more than 100.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Right now we see like something like 40 to 60. So which is like the congestion time, like the waiting time is like right for 50. So I would say keep it safe 4 to 45 days. By the time container pulled out of the port and then bring it to the warehouse and then start distributing, another like 10 days. So you're looking at probably 45 to 50 days to keep it safe when people do the inventory planning.
But unlike the prices, which like you said, you probably don't expect to go more down, this still should go more down as far as time, right? Like it's not always going to be congested with 50 ships there and taking like 50 days, right? Or do you think this is the best we're going to get in the new normal?
I think the biggest issue is actually the truck and finding the chassis. If people are not familiar with the term, the chassis is, behind the truck. When you drive and you see the container is sitting on that, the steel thing with the tires, like it's called chassis. So the shortage is mainly not because of the vessels cannot enter the port and discharge all the containers, unload them. The problem's coming from the shortage of the truck drivers, the working hours, the waiting times in the terminals, and more importantly, the shortage of the chassis. So that's one of the reason that I think. And then I was reading on the news and see on the news that people start applying, like, because it's getting like a premium job in US right now for the truck driver pays. And they're trying to add up like more truck drivers to the market to make it like more competitive and more importantly become like more available. So I think there are like a little bit more things in this circle. Not only I don't want to just blame and talk about the shipping line, but also let's say with the train, if you do like intermodal shipment, if you want to ship to Denver, for example, your full container, or Kentucky, what are you going to do? The shipment comes to the port, it needs to transfer the train, goes to Chicago, and then from Chicago, the truck needs to pick up and deliver to, let's say, Kentucky maybe, or Minnesota. Yeah. So people need to understand like the entire shipping process, not just, when you tell them 45 to 60 days, but they need to ask like, where is going to be my shipment is going to be transferred? Like, what is the shipping line? What is the sailing time? How many days? When did it accomplish last time? Like how many days it was? So these are, I think, the right things, the right questions to ask it straightforward.
All right. Well, Burak, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said out there to you guys, if you want to, reach out to them for a quote or to maybe ask some more questions about what's going on with shipping, go to hub.helium10.com and right there in the search, type in Foresket. Foresket, that's 2 words, but it's only 1 word, no spaces between, and you'll be able to get a direct link to Burak. He checks all those messages himself. So thanks for coming on here and helping us out with this stuff. I know it's on the mind of many Amazon sellers, especially with maybe Prime Day coming up, and maybe some people have some shipments that haven't hit the shore yet. So thank you for coming on here, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, Bradley.
All right, guys. One last thing. I wanted to give you guys a tip and some strategies about using Listing Analyzer. Now, this is something that, has been a strategy that I've been talking about for a long time, of when you make new listings, how you should analyze your kind of niche theme and how your competitors have their images. But now there's kind of like a newer way with Listing Analyzer. However, don't just do this when you have a brand new product or a brand new listing that you are going to make. What I want you guys to do is to actually do this now, even in your own niche. Like, get your top, 7 or 8 competitors, up to 10, I would say maximum, and then put them into Listing Analyzer. I'm going to share my screen for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. But once you, like, let's just say you were selling these collagen gummies, all right? So the main purpose, you guys all know, of Listing Analyzer is to kind of like see what's going on with the quality of the listings and the quality of the keywords. But the button that I want you guys to use is at the very top right of Listing Analyzer. Once you put them all in, it's called Media Comparison. So once you hit that button, what's going to happen is we are going to show you a layout of all of the images from your competitors' listings in the exact order that they're in. And how this helps, whether you have a brand new listing you're starting or an existing listing, is you're going to start to see thematically what your competitors are doing with their images, because you're going to notice things. Like, for example, one thing that popped out to me right away here, like if this was a brand new listing, is you'll see that around the first 3 images, every single collagen gummies here has a picture, kind of like an infographic of the supplement facts. Those are those things that goes onto the back of like supplements, where you can see how many calories it has and carbs and stuff like that. But look, every single one in the first few images has that supplement fact. So, obviously you should do the same thing too. Another thing that jumps out to me is I talked about this before, but take a look here. And I know if you guys are listening to this on the podcast, it's kind of hard to describe here, but I'll try. But not every single one, but like 5 out of these 8, they have it kind of like, I don't know if you want to call this a lifestyle image slash infographic of where somebody is holding these collagen gummy bears like in their hand or in their finger to show the size. So like this one here, there's one that says, how many do I take? And it shows it both in their hand and in their finger. Here's the very second one. It shows somebody holding it in their finger, like to show the size of it. Down here, here's another one where they're all holding it in the finger. Actually, this one looks pretty big here. So this is not a coincidence, right? Like when one person does it, oh, that's nice. But when you see most of these top sellers all doing a very, very unique image, that's not normal. Like not every Amazon picture are you holding the product in your finger or in your hand. They must have some data that showed that there's a lot of customers who are asking about the relative size of these gummies. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. It's like, yeah, I'm going to put something in my mouth. I don't want to choke on it, or, I want to know the size of it. How big is it? Do I have to chew it? Things like that. So it makes sense. Now, you may or may not have been able to find that by using review insights and looking into your competitors' reviews, but you don't even have to get to that point. You can just I just click one button and I instantly saw that this is a niche theme that everybody is doing images like that. There's other kind of commonalities here where there's just, it seems like a lot more infographics that have to do with the benefits. And that makes sense. A coffin shelf doesn't need a whole bunch of infographics, but if we're talking about a supplement, I don't need to see the supplement every single side of it. I mean, it's just a little tiny gummy bear, right? So it makes sense that, hey, you should focus maybe more on the infographics with some text that talks about the best kind of benefits that or the best benefits that you're going to get by taking this. So again, guys, listing analyzer is what I want you guys to check out, whether you're making a new listing or whether you have an existing listing. Get your top 5 to 10 competitors in there, hit that media comparison, and see what you can find out about what these top sellers are able to do for their images. And I guarantee you are going to find some kind of theme or something that's working for these top sellers. And it's probably something that you should hopefully be incorporating in your listing. All right, well, that does it for our weekly buzz this week. We'll see you back next week to see what's buzzing in the world. Like I said, we always bring you guys interviews. We bring you the latest news in Amazon and Walmart, and we also give you some training. So I'll see you guys next week in the weekly buzz.